Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and happy Halloween. Today, of course, I'm going to be taking you to the Halloween Cup, where it's only fitting that I showcase one of the strongest and most devastatingly powerful ghost types in the entire meta, Shadow Golurk. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Tech, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now this team is triple weak to azumarill, Shadow Golurk, Murkrow, and Guzzlord. But against all odds, with extremely careful gameplay, Temez is still able to fight back against the Azumarills and win nevertheless. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's check out Shadow Golurk absolutely dominating in the Halloween Cup. Off to a great start in game number 1, Golurk into Nidoqueen. Opponent is going to save switch into Azumarill, and this is where things could get tricky, as this team does not have an answer to Azumarill. So Golurk will stay in, land a Shadow Punch, and now out comes Murkrow. Azumarill overfarms to throw on alignment, and Murkrow puts up the shield, and now we find out why, because this opponent is not actually running Ice Beam. Murkrow gonna look to overfarm quite significantly and take the knockout with Drill Peck. Drill Peck does get shielded, Murkrow can just go for the CMP tie into the Azumarill, but the opponent dances out of the matchup and makes a catch onto Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz, Air Slash is not going to be doing a ton of damage. I love the decision to rebank the move and send in Guzzlord. Guzzlord, more than happy to absorb Aerial Aces from Mandibuzz. The nerf to Mandibuzz at the start of the season does really hurt it, as losing that Aerial Ace pacing is a massive problem. Sludge Bomb is going to land, Guzzlord just going to continue to farm, back in comes the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is non-shadow, so they're not going to take a ton of damage from Brutal Swing, so they are going to be no shielding the first. Guzzlord continues to farm, there's the switch into the Golurk, and the opponent should actually be walled here. Stone Edge, Poison Fang, both are going to be resisted. They go for the Poison Fang, it's a simultaneous knockout, and that's basically the best case scenario, as now the Nidoqueen doesn't get to exit the matchup with energy. In comes Murkrow, answered with the Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz is able to make a last second move. Azumarill does have a move banked, in comes the Azumarill, but they don't actually throw the charge attack. Instead they go for the bubble, and that's just gonna get them viciously combo played by the Guzzlord. In comes the Guzzlord, Sludge Bomb takes the knockout, all that's left is 1 HP on a Mandibuzz, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, Shadow Golurk is going to be led into Mandibuzz. Now this is not a good lead. So in comes a Guzzlord safe switch. Guzzlord farming up energy, looking to get to the Sludge Bomb. And I don't know if the opponent ended up pausing a turn at the start of the match, but that should not have been a CMP tie. The Mandibuzz should have always been 1 turn ahead, but maybe they tried to pause or something to see what got brought in, but in doing so they ended up losing a turn. Now out comes Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is food for Shadow Golurk, and they put up a shield on the Brutal Swing. But Guzzlord, too spammy, getting to a second Brutal Swing, and that is very nice damage onto the Nidoqueen. In comes Golurk, and while Golurk does resist both Stone Edge and Poison Fang, a shield here actually does make quite a bit of sense. And that is because saving 2 shields for a Pokemon as classy as Murkrow is very risky. Because if they have a Pokemon with a lot of fast move pressure in the back, the shields will not matter as it will just get farmed down. Dynamic Punch lands, in comes Murkrow, and we do see a heavy fast move pressure mon in the back as out comes Shadow Scizor. Scizor puts up the shield, these packs adding up quite a bit. Scizor going to fire off energy, but there's a pretty clear win con, and that win condition is farming down with Golurk and leaving with a Shadow Punch loaded. Golurk does get the Mud Slap through, that's going to be knocking out the Scizor and leaving with the perfect energy to win charge attack priority over that Mandibuzz. So even though there was a Mandibuzz lead into a Golurk, I don't think anyone told Golurk it was supposed to lose that matchup. It KOs Mandibuzz and takes the win. Great lead in the next match, Shadow Golurk into Skeleturge, opponent get a safe switch into Golisopod, and it is actually the Shadow Claw Golisopod. Fury Cutters would do a ton of damage to the Murkrow. Aqua Jet is going to be shielded up, and Murkrow will look to overfarm a ton of energy. Murkrow going to be hit with an Aqua Jet, so Murkrow trying to get itself as low as humanly possible. So this way the Skeleturge is not going to get a massive farm down. So Murkrow will exit with the Drill Peck to take the knockout, and exit with a Foul Play to get a shield back from the Skeleturge. So this honestly ends up working out pretty nicely. In comes the Skeleturge, and there is the Foul Play. This will do devastating damage if they decide to let it go, and they do. And just like that, they've lost almost their entire Skeleturge. Skeleturge. In the back, oh no, it's Greninja, and Greninja staring at a brick wall named Guzzlord. Guzzlord doesn't even have to build up. That's how brutally oppressive this matchup is. Oh my goodness. They can go for Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon, and Guzzlord just simply does not care. Guzzlord goes for another brutal swing. Greninja is gonna no shield, and Greninja, it's just out of options. There's nothing it can do, and they have no way of beating that Golurk. In comes Skeleturge. Skeleturge getting fully mud slapped down by the Golurk. In comes Greninja. That gets slapped down as well as Golurk claims another victim. We move to the next match, Shadow Golurk versus Charjabug. Oh my goodness, what a lead. Opponent stays in this matchup for a little bit and then safe switches into Shadow Claw Golisopod. Murkrow definitely liking the fact that these are not Fury Cutter Golisopods. Aqua Jet is going to be no shielded. Murkrow survives it, but not by much. Murkrow gonna maximum overfarm here, play to the CMP tie. Does the opponent want to try and force a shield? No, they're just gonna let Golisopod get KO'd. If they bring back in the Charjabug, Charjabug is gonna be hit with a Drill Peck. So the maximum overfarm on the Murkrow pays off in a very big way, as otherwise Murkrow couldn't have forced a shield. In comes the Golurk. In the back, they have a Confusion Wormadam. Oh my goodness. So that is not an answer to Golurk either. Dynamic Punch is going to be shielded, and now out comes Guzzlord. This can learn Bug Buzz, but I assume Bug Buzz would still not one-shot because Guzzlord does have some pretty nice stats. Brutal Swing lands doing some very nice damage. Bug Buzz, while it may not one-shot, would do a lot, so we do see a shield. There's an Iron Head bait from the opponent. They are pulling out all the stops, trying to find a win con, but they built the team really soft to Shadow Golurk, and now there's just not really a path forward for them in this game. Guzzlord knows X-Scissor will not knock out, so it's a pretty immediate no shield. Even the Volt Switches will not be able to secure a farm down before Guzzlord can make it to multiple charge attacks. The Brutal Swing is going to connect, and now it's time. In comes Golurk. Golurk had that Shadow Punch stored from earlier. Shadow Punch takes the knockout as the opponent is going to concede the match. Hopping into the next match, Shadow Golurk leading into Murkrow, and it's the Shadow Murkrow, not where Golurk wants to be. The safe switch into the Guzzlord. Guzzlord gonna look to try and fire off a Brutal Swing. Murkrow is going to inflict devastating damage with the Drill Peck, and it does end up being a CMP tie. Brutal Swing into the Murkrow does get no shielded, and now out comes Clodsire. Clodsire could get a pretty nasty farm down here onto this Guzzlord because Guzzlord can't really do any kind of damage. Clodsire is going to commit to the full farm down, and there's an aggressive switch. I really like this play, saving energy on the Guzzlord because it's not going to do much into the Clodsire, and now sending in the Golurk. Golurk tries for the farm down, but Clodsire too bulky, barely hangs on, makes it to the Earthquake, and Golurk hangs on, but not by much. Golurk does exit with a Dynamic Punch loaded. Heck, even a Shadow Punch would inflict some serious damage. That does get the shield, and now it's time. Murkrow versus Murkrow. Opponent will make a last-second Drill Peck right before they get farmed down. So the Drill Peck is going to be shielded in the back. Oh my goodness, it's Nidoqueen. And this Murkrow is about to reverse sweep. Murkrow should be able to inflict devastating damage onto the Nidoqueen, and once the shield is down, combo play with the Brutal Swing. So the Drill Peck is going to be shielded, and there it is, right on schedule. In comes Guzzlord. Guzzlord's Brutal Swing will take the knockout, and that is going to secure the win. So Golurk has led into a Mandibuzz and a Murkrow so far, and both games it was able to emerge victorious. Hopping into the next match, picking up a pretty okay lead, Shadow Golurk into Greninja. We see a safe switch out into the Murkrow, and that's going to be answered with Clodsire. Shadow Golurk can just fully farm down Greninja in the 2-shield, but there is a significantly better Greninja answer in the back in Guzzlord. So, if Murkrow is able to flip switch in the mid-game, then that could set this team up for success, as Greninja, even with an energy advantage, would go absolutely nowhere into the Guzzlord. So we do see the shield come out for the Murkrow, and Murkrow is able to flip switch advantage. In the back is Azumarill, and things could get tricky. The good news is the Greninja is basically useless. The bad news is the Azumarill is exceedingly strong. Murkrow is going to be winning charge attack priority over the Azumarill. The opponent, Oh my goodness, they surrender all the HP on their Azumarill. Azumarill now deep into the red. They're trusting in their Greninja, and unfortunately, their Greninja is not going to be taking home this win. In comes Greninja with 2 shields to hide behind, but it's answered with the Guzzlord, and we've seen this story before. There's just no way out. Greninja hoping for the Night Slash boost. I don't even think a Night Slash boost would save them because the Golurk has energy as well. And now Brutal Swing after Brutal Swing will be crashing into the Greninja. Greninja just out of options, running out of HP. They no-shield a Brutal Swing. They realize it's inevitable, and they will concede the match. We move to the next game, Shadow Golurk into Galarian Moltres. So this is the 3rd Dark Flyer lead into the Golurk. Let's see, can this team go 3 for 3 on wins in those lead matchups? The Drill Peck is going to land. Oh, that is big damage onto the Moltres. And just like that, suddenly the Moltres is not really much of a threat. The Fly does get shielded. Opponent going to send out a Nidoqueen. My goodness, they are incredibly core broken by the Murkrow. Drill Peck is going to land. That is devastating damage. Switch Claw just not coming up in time to catch that onto the Golurk. Poison Fang is going to land. There's the switch and a Golurk sniping down with the Mud Slap. And in the back is Galarian Corsola. Galarian Corsola is going to have to give up a shield. Corsola's going to get a big farm down, but their energy is not going to go very far into the Guzzlord. Corsola does get the farm down, exiting with energy, but it's time, waiting for the clock to hit 0, and then out comes Guzzlord. Guzzlord is going to do great in this endgame. Corsola, all the energy in the world, but Power Gem is just not a particularly threatening attack here. Power Gem is going to land. Guzzlord tries for the catch, maybe going for a little bit of bad manners there. I mean, it's not going to matter either way. The game should be over, as Brutal Swing will inflict big damage onto the Corsola. That Brutal Swing looked like it was going to be a CMP tie, and it just knocks out the Corsola cleanly. In comes Galarian Moltres, and the opponent is going to resign the match. Hopping into the next match, Shadow Golurk into Araquanid. Now this is a bit of a weird matchup, as Araquanid's Bug Bites are of course going to be resisted, and the Mud Slap is going to be resisted, but Araquanid's Charge Attacks, Bubble Beam and Water Pulse will be hitting for big, super effective damage. Unfortunately, with a Guzzlord in the back, this Pokemon ends up being a pretty big core breaker for this team. Araquanid will go for the Bubble Beam, and now it's time. Out comes Murkrow. Murkrow going to be Bubble Beamed as well. This will be the hardest hitting neutral Bubble Beam you have ever seen. And now the opponent is going to bring out their Guzzlord. The important thing for the Murkrow is it's not in Brutal Swing range. If it was, the opponent could just undertap. But they realized that it's not Brutal Swing range, so instead they're just going to probably go for a shield and an overfarm. The shield does come out. Murkrow, oh my goodness, I don't know if that next Dragon Tail would have knocked out. It would have been very close. The opponent didn't think that it did, and they'll just look to take the knockout. And now it's going to be Guzzlord versus Guzzlord. If the opponent has Dragon Claw, this could be catastrophic. Tamez, no shields. It's just a Sludge Bomb, and that does do quite a lot of damage, but luckily it's not going to be knocking out. In comes Araquanid, and Guzzlord is looking for hard-hitting damage. Full send of the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb gets the shield. In comes the Golurk. Golurk will be able to take the knockout with the Shadow Punch, and now it's Golurk up a shield into whatever they have in the back. In the back, they have a Runerigus. No, Golurk tried to get to the move, unable to get there. The Shadow Claw damage was just too much. And now Runerigus should be in prime position to close out this game. They go for Brutal Swing number 1, immediately followed by Brutal Swing number 2. This is not a particularly strong attack. Guzzlord is able to hang on. Wait. Oh my goodness. Guzzlord, I think it has the back-to-back. Guzzlord, oh my goodness, the 1 HP survive. I thought it was getting Shadow Clawed down for sure, but Guzzlord held on, knocked out the Runerigus. I thought that game was done for, but Guzzlord able to secure the win. Great lead in the next match. Oh my goodness. Leading into a Fortress, a safe switch Sharpedo is going to be answered by the Guzzlord. Guzzlord is going to get a shield with Brutal Swing, and Sharpedo is going to be inflicting big damage with Poison Fang. Poison Fang is going to land. Can Guzzlord still get a farm down? Yes, it can. So Guzzlord proving to be an incredibly effective answer to the Sharpedo. Out comes Fortress, and it is a Volt Switch Fortress. So Volt Switch will allow them to get, honestly, a pretty big farm down. But before they do, Guzzlord, with that pacing, able to make it to a second Brutal Swing and put them into the yellow. Out comes Golurk. In the back is Nidoqueen, and they are just running a line that is so incredibly weak to Golurk. Both Volt Switch Fortress and Nidoqueen will get absolutely destroyed. In comes the Murkrow, and the opponent realizes there's just no way out, and they will concede the match. Hopping into the final match, Shadow Golurk into Shadow Scizor, the battle of the fast move pressure. We're going to see these health bars get absolutely shredded. Scizor farming up. There's going to be the switch, attempt at a catch onto the Guzzlord, and the opponent banks so much energy, and out comes Clodsire. This is a very bad spot to be in as Tamez, because the Guzzlord energy, the big energy lead that it has, is going to go basically nowhere into the Clodsire. Brutal Swing after Brutal Swing will connect, but Clodsire just simply does not care. Guzzlord is outside of Earthquake range, but not by much. Earthquake is going to land, and this could set up a big farm down for the Claude. Another Brutal Swing is going to be thrown. Brutal Swing is going to land. There's the quick switch into the Golurk, and Golurk is able to get a farm down. In comes Scizor. The Mud Slap does go through. The question is, did the Scizor bank back-to-back? Night Slash. Oh, they did bank the back-to-back Night Slash. That is so unfortunate. Golurk has to burn both shields. What do they have in the back? It's a Nidoqueen, and this game does actually somehow look winnable. Shadow Punch is going to be shielded. There's going to be another Shadow Punch. Will the opponent decide to double shield here? Yes, they will. They do have quite a bit of energy. In comes the Murkrow. Will they get to the Stone Edge here? And they do. If they have Stone Edge, they're going to win the game. Nidoqueen does not have Stone Edge, and this game is going to be a win. Oh my goodness. Drill Peck takes the knockout, and that is a good game. All in all, these were some extremely entertaining battles, so many thanks to Tamez for sending them in. Considering that today is Halloween, it only felt fitting that I would try and do some kind of a spooky feature, and I really felt like Golurk fit the bill. Not only is it incredibly dominant in this Halloween Cup, but it's a Pokemon that also has a soft spot in my heart. As some of you who have watched the channel for a while may remember, my main Ultra League team that I used to climb with had Shadow Golurk lead. Now, unfortunately, as metas have risen and metas have fallen, Shadow Golurk, it's gotten a lot more difficult to use in the Ultra League, as a lot of the newer Pokemon have really positive matchups into it, so it's no longer quite the same Ultra League powerhouse that it once was. But man, it's really fun to see a meta where Shadow Golurk is able to thrive once again. We know from Annihilate, this ghost fighting coverage, it is unwallable by every Pokemon except Hisuian Zoroark. However, Hisuian Zoroark kind of walls itself by the fact that it has absolutely no bulk to speak of, so even though Hisuian Zoroark would be resisting, single resisting both of the moves, it's so glassy that it wouldn't even look like that, so unfortunately for Hisuian Zoroark, its stats just do not translate well to Go. So basically, you're dealing with a Pokemon that is unwallable coverage, and that can be honestly really beneficial, especially in these limited metas. We've seen from how strong Shadow Dusknoir can be with the exact same coverage in the Open Grade League. That's exactly what Golurk is able to do in Halloween. But having Mud Slap instead of Astonish is a really, really nice addition to its moveset when Shadow Nidoqueen is as powerful as it is. So all in all, even though this team is triple weak to Azumarill, I think this team is a pretty solid team. I was watching him play it on stream, and he did end up going quite positive with it. And man, Shadow Golurk just put on a show. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.